Normally I'm up here as your center administrator, but with Reverend Marla on vacation, I am leading service for the next 2 Sundays. And that means, it's my privilege to introduce our guest speaker, who is well known to Unity of Bellevue, Reverend Dr. or Bishop Edward Donalson. He's the, yes. For those of you who haven't heard his bio, let me fill you in. He is the interim director of Doctor of Ministry and the assistant clinical professor at Seattle University School of Theology and Ministry. He is an author of 7 books. He has a Bachelor of Theology, a Master of Arts in Global Leadership, a Doctorate of Divinity, and a Doctorate of Ministry. He is also serving as a senior pastor of Kingdom Family Worship Center International and is the presiding prelate of Freedom Assemblies Worldwide. He's the president and founder of Logos Life Network and Leadership Institute, and the co-founder of COA International Enterprise. He is the current president of the United Ecumenical College of Bishops, and he is also the bishop of operations for the PURE Pure Ministries International Fellowship Churches, and he serves both on the King County Juvenile Justice Steering Committee and the City of Kent Community Police Race Relations Task Force. I think he maybe knows how to bilocate, maybe trilocate. Yeah, I have to ask him about that. Our reading this morning is taken from the Second Coming of Christ by Paramahansa Yogananda. Listen with your spiritual ears for the divine gift for you in these words. Let us meditate until we perceive the infinite Christ reigning in our own hearts. Let us learn to love those who love us not, and to forgive those who do ill against us. Let us break all our mental boundaries of color, creed, and nationality, and receive all, even our inanimate and animal kin, in the endless, all-embracing arms of our Christ consciousness. This will be a true and fitting celebration of the coming of Christ to this earth. May Christ consciousness fully awaken and dwell in each of our hearts today and always. For our monthly affirmation, you can always find that printed on the card insert in your bulletin if you can't see the screen fully. I'm going to read it first myself, and then we'll all stand together and affirm it as a community. Knowing that all life is one life, I lift my heart in harmony with all people and things. I embrace and cherish myself and everyone, acknowledging our differences and seeking common ground, anchoring in the spiritual truth of love for all. And so it is. Please stand if able. Knowing that all life is one life, I lift my heart in harmony with all people and things. I embrace and cherish myself and everyone, acknowledging our differences and seeking common ground, anchoring in the spiritual truth of all for all. And so it is.
I am excited to see all of you, and you look better than you did the last time I was here. I want to know what's going on with the water over here in Bellevue. Are you all drinking some Fountain of Youth juice? It's really working, and I like it. I'm so excited to be back with you and thankful for the invitation from Reverend Marla in her absence. And normally Armani comes with me, but he is in Houston, Texas, and getting ready to meet us in Las Vegas. We leave this afternoon for Las Vegas, Nevada for a retreat, a men's retreat. And so Kevin is with me this morning, and I want to say thank you to him for coming with me. Will you help me celebrate him? They do the driving that makes it possible for me to arrive in places kind of in one piece. So that's very helpful for me. That special music was amazing this morning. Wasn't it amazing? Really good. It's really good. Okay, let's jump right into our work this morning. Reverend Marla says that you're on a series where folks are coming in talking about what is the gift that their tradition kind of brings to the larger religious landscape. And so my assignment is to talk about the gift that our spirituality brings to the larger religious landscape. And so I'm going to start, as I always do, from Scripture, New Testament Scripture. Now, unfortunately, being a Pentecostal, I was raised on the King James Version of the Bible, which isn't very gender inclusive now, is it? Lots of he's and hims and not too many theys and thems and she's and hers. And so I memorized a lot of Scripture, and I memorized it, and it wasn't very gender positive. But if you'll, let me say it the way I know it, and then we'll work with it a little bit, and then I am aware that it's not gender inclusive, and we'll fix it on the back end, okay? we got to do the work on the back end, because somebody didn't do the work when they were writing it. So my suggestion is do your work. All right, it makes it easier for everybody. Romans, the 12th chapter, in the first and second verse. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that which is good and perfect and acceptable will of God. My thought today, Awakening to Christ Consciousness, comes out of that second verse. Be not conformed to the world or to the age, but be transformed by the renewing, not the removing, but the renewing of your mind, that you might prove that the divine is good and that the divine is acceptable and that the divine is perfect, that you might be the living embodiment of the perfection and beauty of the divine. So if I had to do this in a gender neutral way, I might say, I beseech ye therefore, siblings, by the mercies of the divine, that you present your physicality, a sacrifice that is not connected to the dogma of this present age. And you would not be conformed to the foolishness of your current existence. But you would be transformed in your thinking so that you could prove that the divine is better than the right now. That the temporal is temporary, but that the spirit is eternal. In other words, I think what the author is getting at is what you think about, you bring about. So that you have to teach your mind what to think. In fact, you have to teach your mind what to think instead of what you see. Because what you see is often contrary to the perfection of what really is. My mother-in-law and my spouse like soap operas. And there it is. And oftentimes I come home at the end of the day and I find them in the living room like this. No! No! Oh. And so now I walk in and I just go, oh, no! I bet she did it. And like 50% of the time I'm right. I'm in the middle of the thing, right? But I'm right. And so every now and again, my spouse will say to me, this is the part where you say how beautiful I am. And I will say to my spouse, someone did not drop off my script this morning. Like, I didn't get the script. Like, you can't be mad because I'm not performing because I just didn't get the script. And my spouse will say to me, shut up. I bet that's not written in there either. We're really having this conversation about what we have projected onto the world versus what is the reality and the truth of what we are experiencing in the world. And really what this text is telling us is that most of the time we are projecting onto our own story stuff that shouldn't be in the script. Because we have not been transformed in our thinking to know something beyond what our temporal experience is informing us about. You know, I looked in the mirror the other day and I had an experience. I experienced gray hair. Yeah. In new places. And I thought, I see it. That's what's happening. I'm getting old. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, hold on, wait, just a minute now. Wait, how old is your spirit? Because you've been old a long time. From the moment you arrived in your physical body, you were already ancient. So your physical is just now catching up in some way with who you really have always been. Maybe then you shouldn't think I'm getting old, you should think I'm getting more expensive. Right? Like this wine is aging nicely, isn't it? And there's something about getting to the place where I am old enough to know better and young enough to try it anyway. That's a lot better than being young enough to try it but not being old enough to know better. There's something different about the narrative when I have not been conformed to the standards of the advertisers. Because the advertisers would have you believe everyone was 21. Perpetually. Right? But that's not the truth. We're not 21 forever. And we don't have to be. Because as we are in our embodiment, we are gaining and growing and becoming. And aren't you a better version of you than you were at 21? Aren't you a much better version of you than you were even 21 days ago? Because that's what it means not to be conformed to the world, but to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So Psalm 1 says something like, blessed is the person, let me say it the way I know it. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinner, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. But this is the only part that I really like. In God's law does he, she, them, they, ZX. Meditate day and night. What would my reality be like if I spent all day meditating on truth? What if I really knew better than I acted so that I could act what I really know? What if instead of getting mad at a coworker for just being a flake, you know what a flake is. But what if I really knew that something in them was broken? And my job was not to judge their behavior in this moment, but to work toward healing them. What if I woke up every day and realized I'm a gift to the world, to express the divine in the world in as many ways as possible? I was thinking as my bio was being read, who the heck is she talking about? And why do they do all of that? That's too much. It's like entirely too much. And then I realized I don't do it all the time. I do it when I show up as me, where I show up, how I show up, incrementally, in stages, in moments, and in seconds. And when you read it all together, it sounds really, really overwhelming. The only way I keep my sanity is to know I only need to be what I need to be when I need to be it where I need to be. That's it. That's all. I was talking to a friend of mine some years ago, and they said, you know, our church doesn't believe in bishops, and so I don't believe you're a bishop. And I said, phew. He said, you're not upset? I said, no, I never have to be a bishop to you. One less thing to do. I don't need you to believe anything. I just need to be who I am in the moment that I am, being the best of the divine in me, through me, as me, and that is all. And what if every morning you woke up being the best you could be, having the divine expressed in you, through you, as you, and that is all. No script. You know, the soap operas, they drop it off on Monday morning, and then they rehearse it, and then they record it, and then they get another script. What if you are not waiting on the script anymore? What if all you have to do is stand in the truth all the time? Just every moment of every day, standing in the truth, being the very best and highest of yourself. And so the text tells us, really, that our thoughts are magnetic. And they charge the atmosphere to draw to us what we are focused on. I have a secret to tell you. You have thought your way into every single solitary situation and circumstance that exists in your life right now. Scary. Because some stuff we don't want to be experiencing. But if you thought your way into it, you can think your way out of it. Just think another thought. I had another conversation with someone else recently, and I said to them, my intention is to experience lavish love. My intention is to be loved radically and accepted fully. And that's what I'm going to experience at this stage of my life. Whether or not you are able to give that is up to you. But it is the only thing I will receive. And if that means that you're not on the other end, I'm good with that. I'm okay. Because I've thought my way into too many circumstances and situations that didn't feel like what I wanted to experience. And I know that it's my thinking that has drawn this behavior to me. So I'm thinking something different, and I want to share that thought with you so that you know you have a choice to opt in or you have a choice to opt out. But this is what I'm going to experience. What would happen if you went to work tomorrow and thought differently? What if every choice was informed by what you know and not a fear of what you might lose or what you might miss out on or who might not be there or who might not approve or who might not? There's some decisions that we just have to make. And the cost of them is that some other people won't agree with them. And they are right for us. And they feel right because we know they're right. And I think what the writer is trying to get at is when you consciously and consistently make good choices, your life is consistently a stream of great manifestations. The art of achieving excellence in anything is the singularity of will. To will one thing is the first step. Everything is created twice, first in mind and second in time. And we are actively creating the universe and the world in which we have decided we want to live. Now, and not enough of us are thinking right about the White House, but that's another subject for another day. But we can think a new thought. We can think a new thought and we can have a new experience. And we can create a world in which the manifestations of evil are negligible because there are enough of us thinking about love. Thinking about love and living in love and acting toward love. So, I'm closing with this thought. I am begging you, siblings, that you would present yourself as a conduit of the divine. That you would show up as a living manifestation of the mind of the divine. First got married. September the 4th, it'll be 20 years. So 1999. Picture it, Sicily, 99. Just joking. It was really Renton. But Sicily sounds so much more exotic. And my spouse, she did not know my habit of self-talk in the way that I really do self-talk. And so I was sitting on the bed, and you could see the mirror from the bed, and don't let your minds wander. And I'm talking to myself, and I said, you are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, what an honor to be gifted with such beauty. And so my spouse said, oh. And I didn't know what she was experiencing. Oh, and I said, and then I went on telling me all of the things I needed to tell me, and she said, oh, honey, it's so beautiful, you're so romantic, thank you. I said, what? Oh, yes, you too. And she says to me, you mean to tell me you've been sitting here talking to yourself? I said, yes, in the mirror. Would you like to talk to yourself? Because it's really great. It's going to start your day off really, really good. She said, well, I thought that you were sharing those things with me. I said, oh. Well, they're all true of you. Let's say that. And, yeah. No, I was talking to me. This is my moment. She said, you know what? That's why I married you. Something's wrong with you. Something's not right up there. You need me. I see this now. But the reality is, I catch her every now and again. When she doesn't think I'm listening, saying, ooh, you look good today. My goodness, look at you. Aren't you something else? What a maker's masterpiece. And oh, she's just going on and on and on and on. And every now and again, I sneak up behind her and say, thank you. Yeah. What if you woke up every day and told yourself the truth about you? That you are capable of giving and receiving love. That you are an expression of love made manifest. That you are the very best thinking that God ever did. Yeah, when God had his best thought, out came you. All of God's thoughts are good and right. And they ended up in a manifestation called you. And what if you knew that? What if you knew that you are perfect in your imperfections? And what if at the end of the day, you believe and live into the truth that you are enough? You are enough. So here's the last gift that my faith tradition has to offer to you today. It is the practice of turn to your neighbor and say. That's what we do in our church. Turn to your neighbor and say. Like 52 million times during the service, someone says, turn to your neighbor and say. So normally when I come to church and I sit down, I look at my neighbor, I say, I'm not going to do all this talking to you today. So whatever they say, turn to your neighbor and say, ditto. That. All right, we're good. But today I'm going to give you this gift, right? Like turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor in their eyes, you are enough. Isn't that something? You are enough. It's your next performance review. Just remember, you are enough. Don't care what that paper says. Oh, ignore those threes. You are enough. No, the truth of the matter is, when we know we are enough, we live as though we are enough. And we show up as though we are enough. And threes are nowhere to be found because they can't find a number to express how important and how valuable you are. as a contribution to the community because you are enough. I want to leave this thought with you. You're perfect in your imperfections.